Episode 3 from Season 8.
I liked it.
Is that where we are? We are Season 8, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. It's so easy to like lose your spot. I still feel like it's Season 6, which is like where we started with this podcast. So Season 8, Episode 3 in the bag, and I got to say, I think it's been the best of the 3 so far. It's so funny. Last episode we were talking about, and then on the comic cast we were talking about how Jesus is just so underused in the show compared to how awesome he is in the comic, and it's like they heard my cries and just unleashed hell with Jesus this episode. And we're like, you want badass Jesus? We're going to show you badass Jesus.
Comic cast. What is that?
It's just thing we won't talk about.
Okay, it's a weird thing to say. You just said comic cast. I think this is a podcast. What are you talking about? That's weird.
I broke my the cast. It has all these comic book designs. Is that what a comic cast is?
Yes. That makes sense. That's a literal.
So we may have podcast it without you. My mic is falling apart.
Is that what's going on over there?
Yeah, it's falling apart. My mic stand. But anyways, but we were talking about the Walking Dead comic and all of that, and it's just like on the regular podcast, I was talking about how I wish Jesus would start being badass and stop just being this pretty boy. And,
you got your wish.
And I got my wish, man. Jesus was off the hook. And I watched the behind the scenes of them like training for that fight and everything, man. It was so good.
Is that the key now? If we want anything done on The Walking Dead, we're just going to have a podcast with you two?
Maybe.
Okay.
Maybe. Well, no, I think we just we complain enough, and they're like, those guys on the Podcasting Dead have been complaining an awful lot, so let's...
It's awesome we're known as those guys on the Podcasting Dead.
It's like, they don't have to know my name. At least they know where we're from, right?
That is true.
But yeah, so Episode 3, I think those that have been a little disappointed with the first 2 probably much happier with this episode. And Morales, man, good Lord.
That was short-lived.
It's like I didn't really care that he was back, but once he was back, I was like, well, let's just see where this will go. This could be some good drama. Okay, and he's gone.
Yeah.
But
Thanks to Daryl.
I feel like if he had stuck around, they kind of would have retread the whole Morgan storyline. His journey to redemption, and falling in love with Rick, and secret romance behind the scenes, and all that stuff. And who wants to see that all over again?
I think it's so funny because I think Matt might have called it, or you. It's one of you two. It wasn't me. Had said, how many times are we going to go through this whole? You shouldn't kill, but I need to kill to survive. It's like we get it. How many of these moral crises are we going to have to go through where it's like, I don't want to kill, and then they have to be shown that they need to kill, and then, find a healthy balance between the two.
That's Morgan's problem. He can't find that balance, that sweet middle ground.
At least it's a little unpredictable in my book, because I definitely thought that, like, the way they were just going to write it was going to be he was all rage, and then, like, he was all peace, and then he was going to find his happy balance and be this awesome, but I mean, apparently, I wouldn't have imagined that he would like revert back as bad as he is. It's like he's slowly sinking back, I thought they would have done the cliche route of like finding a solution and him being,
I feel like the biggest battle on the show is Morgan with himself.
Yeah.
Like of all, like between the hilltop and the saviors and Rick's group, all that. No, it's just Morgan just hanging out. Trying to figure out what
it's like. I'm just watching a show for Morgan at this point, and now Jesus.
Oh man, that was awesome. It was a very realistic looking kind of thing.
Yeah.
It was very good choreography.
I watched they showed on the Talking Dead because I was at the beach and it was 11 o'clock at night, so I was like, I'm just gonna watch. I try not to watch the Talking Dead just so I don't let it sway us too much, or our style, but. I did watch it, and it showed like the choreography of them practicing, of the two actors actually doing that. It's awesome, man. Like, I mean, they put a lot of work into that fight scene, and I think it really, really showed with the end result, because when Morgan first like brings that stick up and Jesus gives him that hard front kick just straight to the gut.
Okay, all right, let's just calm down.
He's like, let's just calm down.
Haha, I am wearing hockey pads.
I love it, man, because like I said, in the comic, Jesus is such a beloved character, because, I mean, he really is. If you took Daryl out the equation, I think you could call Jesus kind of Rick's right-hand man. He's definitely his go-to man in the comics. Like, he's down for whatever, but I mean, so I'm glad that we finally get a little more Jesus in our life.
Yeah, absolutely.
Am I the only, when they were carrying them down the highway and they had all the people tied up, I really wanted to hear Kanye's Jesus Walks as that was playing. Am I the only one? No.
I think Morgan, what is up with The Walking Dead and just nonstop, like they kill their extras, with no shame. But like this guy was talking crap about Benjamin, that, Morgan, the kid that got killed, and Morgan, it kind of like reverted Morgan. And then, like, when he comes up and they're all standing there when they ran and Morgan just starts shooting them, it's like, shoot the douchebag that was talking crap, man. Stop shooting these no-name characters.
Was he whistling the Nutcracker Waltz? I believe that's what that was. The Suite of the Nut. What's it called? Something about the Nutcracker.
Was it the guy that was talking crap?
Yeah, the long-hair dude, yeah.
What's up with Negan and his group having all these awesome, like, classical songs?
They have classes.
Whistle, yeah.
All right, this Saturday we're having classes on whistling.
This is Beethoven's Fifth Symphony.
Do his little lean back.
Symphony.
Yeah, at least
Beethoven's Sympathy. That would be really good.
He's in the Christmas spirit, at least. You know,
that is.
Nutcracker was.
Yeah, we haven't had a Christmas episode, have we?
No.
I want some more like holiday themed episodes.
Yeah. I mean, we kind of had somewhat of a Thanksgiving when they were having that big feast in the flash forward that never came to be.
Yeah.
Side note, if you get a chance, you should definitely look that up. So that scene at the end of the season 7 premiere, you know, where they were all at the table, there was actually a lot more to that. They got cut for time restraint and everything. And dude, if you watch that, it's like 3 minutes long. Like that whole thing was supposed to be this big scene that just showed everyone as they were getting ready to go to the table and sit down and have that meal. And it's heartbreaking, man. Like you get to see more of Glenn playing with this kid.
Kind of like what could have been.
Yeah, it's really sad. I hate that they cut it, honestly, because I feel like it would have been a lot more emotional had we have had that.
This whole lateral storytelling thing is getting very confusing. Like how 1 minute they're focusing on this story, and then they jump ahead and they jump back. Like they were doing that with Ezekiel's group a lot on this episode. It gets very confusing.
Yeah, sometimes it works, but I'm not crazy about it right now.
As long as they don't film stuff in black and white.
I feel like this is the type of show where you really don't need that. You know what I mean? Like it's The Walking Dead. It's a real time thing. Just follow it. You know, it's not one of those stories where I really need to see. Because like I said, I got more confused by it flashing forward and backwards than I just did if they would have just played it straight out, you know, and been like, all right, here's our strategy. But so speaking of Ezekiel, man, I think Ezekiel kind of like overestimated he and his group.
Not one of us will die. All right, so some of you are going to die.
And in this show, I mean, again, let's face it, I love The Walking Dead, but we've said it many times. It's true. It's a very predictable show. I mean, it's one of the most predictable shows I believe I've ever watched. And of course, when they was sitting there towards the end of the episode, and he looks at Carol and he's like, "Not one." I told my girlfriend, I was like, here we go.
But, you know, he seemed so morose when he was saying. Did you guys feel like he was just saying that, but he was sad deep inside?
I feel like it's just his delivery. It's the words that he's using. The way he says it, he always sounds like a tortured king or something.
Well, like, I thought, like, we hadn't seen Sheba for a while at that point, so I thought maybe they were going to flash back that, like, she died at some point during one of their last battles.
Oh, wow.
We haven't lost anyone, but, yeah, my tiger's dead. But I guess maybe that's not the case now.
No.
Why is Carol smiling? Because she doesn't have any kind of, what's the word I'm looking for, competition anymore.
Yeah. I love the, like I said, we were watching that, going back to the beginning to the Morales thing, you know, and I do like that dialogue they had going there where Morales, you know, was talking about kind of what's happened up to that point. You know, he never made it to where he was going. His wife and kids were killed, and they kind of gives at least a little reason as to why he would be willing to kill Rick for the Saviors, because, you know, I mean, you got to think, he only knew Rick for like a few days, man. I mean, when you go back and watch those old episodes, they were only around each other like 2-3 days maybe, and then that was it. Whereas the Saviors found him, saved him, and he's probably been with them for a year or more. So in his mind, he probably definitely, because some people were arguing like, why would he be, I could see why he probably would be against Rick. If these are the people that saved him when he was a broken man and gave him a chance to be somebody, and you know,
but I mean, he did spend a lot of time with Glenn, you would think. And, you know, Rick told him.
That did shock him, like, because I thought he was kind of make a turnaround a little. He's like, well, we're not the same we were in the first season. He didn't say first season, but we knew when he said from the start.
The fourth
we
wall,
knew.
man.
Yeah,
Rick, you know, we aren't the same as we were the first season.
Both of them looking at the camera and just kind of winking. That's great.
But yeah, I do like Daryl. Daryl just comes in and it's just like, and then he's like, that was, I know who he was.
I've eaten dog food for like a month straight, you son of a bitch. I'm just going to kill whoever I want.
Daryl is. If you're in Daryl's way now, man, I mean, like poor fat Joey, I felt really bad for him. Because, I mean, he's like, man, I'm just trying to make it. Like, you know, and you could tell Joey wasn't one of those, like, kind of cruel. He didn't really fit in with the Saviors. I guess Negan, they say he was smart. Like, he did a lot of the planning, and that's why Negan kept him around. But,
you have to stay fat like that during the zombie apocalypse. You got to be figuring out ways to get extra food.
Yep. And like
maybe
I said,
it's like a thyroid issue.
That could be it.
Men have thyroids, right? I got a big argument with somebody about that the other day.
About thyroids? You have weird arguments with people.
I'll research that. We'll do a podcast about that next week.
Okay.
Men's health as it relates to thyroids.
I have a subscription to Men's Health. I don't know how I got it. Andrew Lincoln was on the cover not too long ago. Not Andrew Lincoln, Norman Reedus. That's what I mean. Yeah, that's what. Yeah,
I got it for free when I bought a watch.
It was really weird.
But so lots of things going on this episode. I'm trying to think. So we had Morales. As quick as he came in, he was gone.
He's gone.
And like I said, on The Talking Dead, I could definitely tell the actor really wants to stay on this show because he straight up is like, I'm not really happy with the direction they took, but I'm thankful to be able to work with Andy and everyone again. But you can tell this actor's like, man, like maybe at the beginning, I don't know why he left. Maybe they just wrote it that way. Maybe he was like, well, I don't really see the show going anywhere, so I want to try some new things. And now he's like, holy hell, this is a freight train of a show. I should have never left. But he, at least he got to come back. So poor Aaron and Eric.
Oh, that was a very touching moment.
This is a very, very, very quick comic spoiler, but I will say, as for Aaron, Aaron should feel lucky because comic Eric.
Yeah, it's very. I
want to say Aaron for both.
Literal.
Basically, in the comic, Aaron doesn't. Eric doesn't get that slow, meaningful monologue or dialogue. He just gets shot in the head.
Oh, wow.
The battle starts and Aaron's just like, Eric, because his head's blown off, and that's the end of it.
About that.
So at least show Aaron got to make a little peace with Eric, But I thought that was a very good scene. I think Ross, the guy that plays Aaron, I think he's a really good actor. He's the one that does all the impressions.
Ross Marquardt, yeah, man.
He's so good. I really feel like he's one of the most underrated people on this show. And not so much that it's the fault of we're under. I feel like the writers need to start bringing him more.
Oh,
they are slowly, but I feel like Aaron could be a fan favorite if they really started writing him that way. Because Raw is a very likable actor.
Does this leave an ability or an opportunity for him and Jesus?
Too soon, Matt.
Too soon?
His boyfriend just died.
Look, it's a zombie apocalypse. Oh, okay. All right.
Give him some
I never
time
really liked
to
Eric
grieve.
anyway, whatever. But no, he's on I listened to a Doug Benson podcast, and he's a guest on there every once in a while. And he is freaking hilarious.
Yeah, he is. He's a really good
They
actor.
ask him to do micro impressions. He'll do all sorts of impressions.
Yeah,
It's
he
really
does
funny.
Godfather impressions really well. I mean, he's awesome. If you've never seen his impression skills,
look it up.
Highly suggest
What is
you do
it,
that.
5 second impressions or something like that?
Yeah, he just does a line from each character, but he's so good. He was on The Talking Dead a season or two back, and he did some on The Talking Dead. It was really good too. But so let's see what else happened this episode.
Negan and Gabriel.
Right.
What is happening?
They just made a life with each other in that little trailer.
Holy cat! We're gonna come back. It's gonna be, Gabriel's gonna be in a nice little gown or something, and Negan's gonna be
step
whistling.
Out and go, hot diggity dog. He made me hold it. But no, I've seen a lot of but I really don't think this is going to be true. But we talk about the show, so you got to throw out all kind of theories and stuff that you see. I've seen one fan theory that Father Gabriel is the mole because Gregory, which we hadn't talked about, Maggie just straight up telling Gregory to go to hell now, man. I mean, I hate that she let him back in, but the widow.
That's so elusive.
So that's dark. It was just 3, right?
The
We're
king,
told to
the
find
widow,
Rick, the widow, and the king.
Is Rick the sheriff or something? Or
you 3 are supposed to be brought alive.
The crazy eyes.
But I'm surprised he still doesn't want Daryl though, because I loved the season finale last season where he's like, I gotta get me my Daryl back. I really want to see more Jeffrey Dean Morgan, man. Come on. The dude I read an article where they were saying he overacts the role too much and it ruins it. I'm like, clearly you don't get that his character is his role is based off of a character who is very over eccentric. You know what I mean? He's very over the top and the way I picture Negan in the comics would almost feel like a guy who thinks he's being filmed all the time. You know what I mean? And I think Jeffrey Dean Morgan's playing that perfectly.
Oh yeah. When he said Negan, did he mean Ezekiel?
What? No. It was talking about. It was
I know. I'm just saying. Ezekiel's the one that's overacting.
Yeah, it was a ranker Facebook. On Facebook, you see ranker or one of these randoms, and it was top 10 actors that have ruined what could be iconic roles. And I'm like, I thought everybody I've talked to is loving Jeffrey Dean Morgan. The only complaint is I need to see more of him.
I wonder if that's what they're doing. Is kind of keeping their cards close to their vest because they don't want to give away too much.
We've got one more, I guess, high action episode, according to what I've read, and then the 5th is supposed to slow down, which I hope it doesn't slow, but so far down because
I enjoyed watching the zombies roll down the hill. I bet that was a fun day for those
zombies.
extras. Oh my gosh, that was
saw
great.
The Talking Dead. It was like the I'll tumble
like a zombie slide.
Zombies.
Oh, that's funny.
I saw in the bonus scenes it was only 3 zombies, and they just like refilmed different makeup and stuff.
Oh, those people had to hate that by the end of the day. Then 1 or 2 times would be fun, but after about 5 or 6,
I've thrown up 4 times. So don't make me tumble again.
It's running down my makeup.
But yeah, I think that's what I had saw was there was only 3 of them, and they took a cool poll asking was Morales' death justified with the audience, like with the viewing audience, or should they have left him a while? And the majority were like, no. I mean, you come around the corner. I like what Norman Reedus said was like they were like, what do you think was going through Daryl's mind? And he's like, we're at war. This guy's got a gun to my best friend's head. I'm gonna kill him. Like. I don't think Daryl thought. Daryl right now is just a machine. He's kind of like Morgan in the sense of like he's there to kill and do a job, and that's it. But there is a mole. Gregory has said, and he could have been lying, but the guns were moved. Rick and Daryl went to get the guns. They had been moved. So it seems there could still be a mole within Rick's army. And a lot of people are trying to say they think it's Father Gabriel, but I just don't see that.
I think that's too obvious.
I don't think it's Father Gabriel. But that leads the question, if there is a mole, and Gregory wasn't making that up, who would the mole be?
Who would they have leverage on, Who has the most to lose? I don't know.
I don't know, because like I said, because Gregory did say that they knew before he got there, which you could be like, well, Gregory, he's a lying piece of shit, but at the same time, you got to remember that they did have the guns moved, and like Gregory didn't know that they were going to get the guns, so it's a possibility there's a mole that's...
Well, at least we know where the guns are now.
Right.
So that's always nice.
Wait, where are the guns?
They're using them to shoot on Ezekiel and all them.
That's true. Man, what an ending. Like,
yeah.
Not one.
It's true, though. Not one. Probably 3 or 4 or 17, but not
you didn't
one.
Lose one.
Yeah.
So King Ezekiel is still honest. Thank you.
Yeah, there you go. So you think that the actor that plays King Ezekiel is just overdoing it? Or do you think so much it's getting annoying?
Oh, it's definitely the right. Yeah. It's not. He's doing. I believe that he's doing the best he can with the role that he's given and the lines that he is doing. He's delivering the best he can. But I'm just not. I don't know.
Like
reading it is amazing.
That's what I was saying.
Seeing it, it's just like, dude. At what point do you realize this looks really dumb compared to everybody else?
That's what I had said a while back. When I read it in the comics, it was fine. Like, it didn't bother me at all. It didn't, I'm just like, oh, whatever. But then when you actually see it, it just doesn't. Maybe if you would have started him doing that, or even changed up his origins a little bit and have him like been a king from like somewhere and or whatever. But I mean, like by this point, it's like I know these people need someone like as a leader, but how long before they go, dude? You can quit with the whole king thing. You're a great leader. We support you. We follow you. But drop the whole king thing, dude. I mean, we'll call you King Ezekiel, but quit the old English speech.
Like how many people in the back are just like roll whatever he starts on a big speech or something. Just here
we know his right hand man, the big guy that I'm telling you, he's gonna die.
Yeah.
Like they're focusing on him a little bit too much. Which Walking Dead being predictable Walking Dead, they can't just focus on a character to try and help them like nowadays to help them grow. They basically are showing you like, hey, they're gonna die soon, but. He seems to be all about some King Ezekiel. He's got that big battle axe. Whenever King Ezekiel speaks, he like perks up. And I would love it if they didn't actually take the predictable route and kill him, though. Like I'd like to see him. I like the character. I
think they need to start killing more people.
They need to start killing some main characters. Absolutely.
Like who?
Just anybody.
So let's go ahead and start with Rick.
Carol.
Really turn the show upside down.
At this point, I'm completely cool with Carol being killed, and I'll tell you why. I like Carol, and I think that she's one of the best actresses on, or actors, period, on the show. If you watch just her facial expression, I mean, she's a great actress. Yep. I mean, she does a wonderful job. But where else can you go with Carol's story? She's been everywhere. She's been from coward to lion. You know what I mean? She's been through the Morgan, like, I don't want to kill anymore phase, and now... Give Carol like a good noble death before we drag her character out too long. We've had our moments where we're like, Carol's such a badass and we love her. But I mean, like, that's what I love so much about. I think season 3, in my opinion, was like the pinnacle of The Walking Dead. Not necessarily when it's at its best, but where its fan base was at its most buzzed because everybody was so on edge of like, anybody can die. Herschel gets bit in the leg. You think he's going to die. Merle dies. It's like, Merle's dead? Merle dies. Andrea dies. Lori dies. Like all of these. And that's why they fired Glenn Mazzar from what I read because he was killing off too many main characters. But that's when everybody was buzzing about the show. Season 4 was a great season. So I'm not saying season 3 was the best season, but I'm saying that's when I remember the most of everybody was on Facebook talking about The Walking Dead and everybody was You know what I mean? And then it's just like now it's just kind of the hype's died down. And I think a lot of it's got to do with A, the predictability, and B, just their not being willing to kill off.
Yeah, Carol would be a good choice because that could kind of send Ezekiel and Daryl into this like 2-man kamikaze mission.
Right.
So they would both go just cuckoo.
And the possibility, and I'm sure somebody can go back and be like, oh, have you seen how? Yes, they kill a lot of main characters. But let's face it, at this point, it's got to be a finale, mid-season finale, or it's got to be an important. They don't just do it like they used to. But Carol, that'd be great because she's dead in the comics. So what a great, it's just an open door as to what they can do with that. And I hope they'll take the chance to have some creative writing and like do something with Carol. Give her like a noble death. You know what I mean? Don't just drag the character out because she's a fan favorite. I mean, I love Ned Stark, but that didn't. My love for him didn't keep him through season 1 of Game of Thrones.
Spoilers.
Yeah, if you've not watched Game of Thrones, sorry, but
what is happening?
It's 2011 is when that came out. So
there's people that aren't even aware of Game of Thrones that are like, oh yeah, Ned Stark is dead. Like I don't even know who he is, but I know he's dead.
I know that Ned Stark shocked the world, but yeah. So I really Carol's one. I think Morgan's going to die, but again. If they didn't kill Morgan, I would say that's them being unpredictable because I definitely think he's going to die this season, and they'll honor his memory by locking Negan in the prison and not killing him.
Was it Robert Kirkman that he said about the comics or the TV show that everyone will die eventually?
Both, I think.
Okay.
I mean, he has a lot
more
control on the comics, but on the comics, I completely believe him when because like he said, I will kill Rick in the comics, but when it fits the story, I'm not going to do it for shock value, and I'll give Kirkman that. I mean, some of his character, maybe, but I think a lot of times when he does kill someone, he does put it where he thinks it belongs. I don't think he's so hardcore trying to shock you. Like with, spoiler alerts again, if you read the comics, if you haven't read the comics, block your ears for like a minute. But like they recently killed Andrea. And he on the back, he had this beautiful little thing that he had written saying, like, when I kill off these characters, I don't do it to do it. Like, I mean, I'm kind of like God to these characters. So killing them off, it's hard on me as hard as it is on you. I mean, I've been writing this character for 10 years. To just kill her off is not. But so when the story calls for it, he will kill Rick. But he doesn't want to do it just to shock you. He wants it to fit into the story. But they say that they'll kill him on the show, too. But I'm like, get the hell out of here. You kill Rick on the show, that show's going to fall apart.
Yeah, they'll kill him on the final episode, maybe.
Yeah, right. He'll like sacrifice himself so Coral can keep moving forward. Where's Michonne, man? Mama Michonne, we've been deprived. I mean, we saw her just a little bit on the first episode. And
I think so. Which is I think the first episode was the only thing we saw her in. Like, what is happening?
Where's Michonne?
Shooting a movie or something.
Oh, that's right, Black Panther.
Yeah.
So I wonder if that's what happened.
I just hate, and I know they can't help that she signs up for those movies, but kind of it's just not believable with the character. I mean, she's a warrior. She'd be right there fighting with somebody, not. I guess maybe they'll try. I guess maybe she's defending Alexandria because they,
And who's the guy that went off to film 24? I forget.
Heath.
There we go. I knew there was an E in there somewhere. Yeah, we just completely not worried about him anymore.
Yeah.
They just kind of forgot about him.
I mean, if that's the case, dude, I just assume, kill the character. Give me some closure, man.
Or at least make a comment about, we lost Heath.
Right. Like, one of them could say something like maybe Tara. Tara was with him when he got lost. Somebody could say, naming people they've lost and be like Heath, and Tara could be like, you don't know that. He might be alive.
Right.
Give us some holdout for it. They just basically are like, Heath.
Yeah, it doesn't ring a bell.
Glasses?
Who is that guy?
Glasses? Is that the Heath?
Is that the Asian dude I met in the tank? Or who is that?
Who is Heath? It's like, guys, he was here 2 days ago.
Isn't that a candy bar? What is that? Heath.
Heath would make a good candy bar if it's not already.
It is. It's like a toffee inside of chocolate. Little thin Heath bar.
I've never tried it. But I've definitely seen it.
They're not. It's like really crunchy, brittle toffee on the inside. Not a fan. The chocolate's good.
Trying to think, is there anything else in this episode that we really need to cover? Morales' death. We lost Eric. Like I said again, I thought that scene was really good between the two of them. I thought, again. Matt's brought this up and been right.
Hello.
I mean, they do have a bad habit of trying to make these scenes with some of these characters emotional, and you're like. You haven't really given me this much of that character, so forgive me for not being so sad that character died. But with that said, I think the two actors did a great job, especially to be two straight men playing gay men.
Yeah.
They did a really good job, so it's.
And Eric just kind of walking off into the sunset was poignant.
I like what he said on The Talking Dead too. He said that when they filmed it, they'd actually filmed that scene with a stand-in. And he didn't demand it, but he was like, "Man, it'd have been cool if I could have done it just as like a send off." And they reshot that whole scene for him.
Oh, nice.
Let him be the one to actually walk away And like I said, now the symbolism in that I thought was beautiful. I thought that was again, it's just they didn't give you enough of Eric for you to really be that sad.
Right, but his zombie will come back at some point, and Aaron will have to kill him. You know.
Well, he brought that up too. Like they asked him, if Aaron would have came back. Number one, Ross said that he thought that Aaron was holding out some hope that he would be alive. Like he wasn't. Whereas Eric, we know, was pretty much saying like goodbye. Mm-hmm. Aaron didn't think so. Aaron and Eric, they shouldn't have done that. It's really hard to get.
And they're spelled differently, but it's just phonetically not.
But he brought up the Morgan thing, season 1, where he's looking down the scope at his wife, and he just can't do it, and he feels like Aaron would be in the same boat if he were, to have to put Eric down. Man, that's confusing. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so
you're getting it, though. I'm proud of you. You got it.
I'm trying. It's a struggle. I can't speak today. Yeah,
too many.
I'm getting words.
There's a lot of vowels. Aaron has like 2 of them at the beginning of his name. It's not cool.
But so all right. So we lost Eric.
Mm-hmm. Allegedly.
Yeah,
we don't know for certain.
Staggering off to take a weed or something.
Yeah,
who's to say?
He could just be going off to hang out.
Like Aaron moves on with Jesus, and Eric comes like stumbling back in there a few days later. It's like, what the hell?
It was an exit wound. You saw the exit wound.
It was an exit wound. Where did you go? I had to pee. You were going towards zombies as they were walking away.
Yeah.
It was a battle going on.
We're the zombie apocalypse. Everywhere you walk is towards zombies.
Right. It's like, are you into polyamorous?
We were on a break. That's a Friends reference for everyone.
Oh, man, yeah. Yeah, Ross. Mm-hmm. We were on a break with Jennifer Aniston.
Rachel.
Yeah,
there
Rachel.
You go. Oh, man, that was some must-see TV right there.
Yeah. I've never watched back through watching.
No. You're watching Star Trek.
Seinfeld back then. It was more Seinfeld and Frasier for me.
Speaking of, real quick, have you watched The Orville? Have either of you watched The Orville?
No, I haven't yet.
I kind of enjoy it.
Oh, boy,
I've watched the first 2 episodes. I enjoy it.
It's something I really want to catch.
It's got a little bit of that Family Guy humor in there. It's got some action, got a little bit of drama. And it's an hour long, which is very... It just goes by kind of quick. I like it. I enjoy it.
Yeah, I haven't watched that or a Star Trek Discovery yet. Want to check out both.
Okay. Yeah.
So back to The Walking Dead.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm trying to make sure we've covered everything because I don't, want there to be some big. So we covered Eric's death. The guy that was
alleged.
The guy that Morales.
There you go.
The character that I know so little
not
about,
important enough to remember anymore.
Right. We talked about that. It was pretty. I thought it was pretty heartwarming at the end where Rick hands Aaron the baby because he says that he and Eric wanted to have a baby, and
I don't want this.
Yada yada yada. I thought that was really.
I've already got 2 of these. I don't need any more.
And I don't even think the second one's mine, so here, take this.
Misha was my baby now.
Watch, somebody will come up and be like, Rick, that's your baby. Damn it.
That's the 3rd time this month.
I never even had sex with that woman. But Rick, it's your baby.
That's
Damn.
so funny.
Why does this keep happening?
That's really funny.
But but that very, very touching scene where Aaron, gets the baby and it's what was the baby's name again? It was...
it was on the wall, too.
It was. I feel bad for not knowing this. I'm sorry.
Let's start naming off Susie, Sharon, 11. No, that's a different show.
Oh, boy, I just finished watching season 2 of Stranger Things. A little cliff note. Side note.
We were going to get to that.
I'm sorry that I said 11. I knew. I knew as soon as I said 11. What was her name? Did it begin with an M? Was it like, or was it a flower of some Lily? Nope, that's no.
It was a boy. It was like it wasn't Gabriel.
Was it a girl?
I thought it started with a G. Oh no, it is a girl. Gracie.
Gracie. There we go.
Gracie.
Hey, I like how we worked that out. Yeah, that was really good. Everyone.
It's like watching somebody solve like long division. It's like
that
we're
was
going
nice.
through like canceling things out.
Math is hard.
Gracie. So Aaron is now. I guess Aaron's gonna raise Gracie.
How did they get a flower out of that?
Jesus beat the crap out of Morgan. Like, I love that. I mean, yeah, Morgan at times had upper hand.
I thought Morgan got the.
Oh no! Well, at the end, the only reason why Morgan would have killed him is because Jesus threw his stick back to him. Jesus took the stick away from him.
Right, but I'm just saying he was going off on him with that stick for a little. Oh, that was a really good scene, though. I
love
Jesus. I think that's definitely holding back.
I think that's no doubt, dude. Yeah. Jesus could have, and I like because in the comics they reference Jesus kicking a lot. Like, I mean, he punches, but that's
don't walk up behind him. He kicks.
He like a mule. But he kicks, and I like how if you watch the fight, pretty much all of his attacks or counterattacks were kicks. You know what I mean? Like they're keeping that part. The only thing is, and JP will get this, I want to see him drop kick someone at some point, because in the comics, he will not hesitate to run and like WWE drop kick your ass.
He's airborne quite often.
But all of my complaints of Jesus of being an underused character, if they continue.
Yeah, I was going to say, hopefully they'll keep it going.
Continue, you've now shown that he's a badass in the last 2 episodes, really in this episode a lot more than the other, and you're starting to bring him to the forefront. Let's keep Jesus in the forefront. I mean, like I said, that's one of my favorite, if not my favorite character in the comics. I want to see him have some good screen time. Stop putting people like Jesus in the back seat for like Daryl. Like, we get it. Daryl's a badass. The girls want him. Let's give other characters a chance to blossom. And
again, I think they're doing it because they're holding their cards close to their chest because they don't want to give away the good ones. They want to hold on to those and use up as much as they wring out every last
just
drop.
Milk it for every bit that they can. Like, dude, so
we're 8 seasons in now. Like we are at the point where we're redoing storylines, being very predictable.
Yeah,
there's things they need to do, countermeasures they need to take.
I mean, like the next episode, let Daryl just step out and catch a bullet in the head, and it's like, whoa! I did not see that coming. And now, even though I've bitched about them being predictable, I'm kind of angry that they just killed Daryl that quick. They'll be like, we can't keep you happy.
You have to have a comic cast this week and say that, and then see what happens. That you hope that Daryl gets a bullet to the head with you and JP, and then see, because you got it with Jesus, you got some fighting with Jesus. Let's start using your powers. Let's see how far we can take this.
We can handle the responsibility.
Yeah, I think you can, JP.
Well, I've got that cosmic cube out in the car. We could will it into existence.
That's what worries me. You shouldn't be carrying that around. And you don't even put it in anything. It's just rattling around in your trunk.
I mean, it's durable.
I guess.
I've heard that before.
Yeah.
Okay. But let me think. I'm trying to think of any big events, man. I want to make sure we cover everything before we move to the comments section. I think that's everything. I mean, as far as the most important, again, I just cannot express. Like, I'm going to give this episode such a high rating just because I'm so happy that they showed Jesus' badassness. And I mean, if they would do more of that, not just with Jesus, but like, Morgan fighting and all of that, man, it would just do wonders for this show. Like,
yep. And not only did they show his fight, like they showed how he remains cool.
Very
because he tries to bring down the situation, tries to calm everybody down. I really like
You think he's a Jedi?
He could be.
I just love how, like, he tells, he gets a stick, and he throws it back to Morgan. He's like, "Are we done?" And then Morgan puts it to his throat, and he's not freaking. He's just like,
"So we're not done?" Okay.
So, and it was awesome, man. I'm so excited for Jesus to become a more mainstay, more front and center character in this show because he's just so awesome in the comics.
Really waiting for Tara to just die.
When she popped up and she was like, because she's being such a bitch. Yeah. Like, I get why she feels the way she feels, but like, you're not the only one that's lost people.
That's the thing that's killing me is that she is acting like she's the only one who's experiencing crap.
Right. Like, I get
you give them one episode all to themselves and they think that they're just big and bad.
I get that you love Denise. It sucks she died the way she died, but I mean, Rick has been, Glenn has been like almost like a son / best friend of Rick for years now, saved him from certain doom, and he had to watch him get his skull bashed in. Jesus has seen things, and Jesus talked about watching a 16-year-old kid get his skull bashed in by that. I mean, they've all been through things, and it's like Tara's acting. I guess it's just showing people process things different, but even still, she's being a complete... I mean, considering she was one of the bad guys and was allowed to live with Rick's group, it's really odd when you think about it, her condemning prisoners to die when she was part of the governor's force on the prison. And through Glenn's mercy, she was allowed, because Glenn could have killed her, I guess, or told Rick that. I mean, like, she was given a second chance, and yet here she is, like, wanting to execute any prisoner that's, so it's kind of...
So you think Rick would be down with the taking prisoners?
I don't know, man. I think
all that matters is what Maggie wants to do.
Yeah. I don't know, man. Part of me thinks that Rick would be if they're not putting up a fight. But then again, Rick's been through so many different. We know there is a part of Rick that would just mow him down. But then we also know there's a part of Rick that would try to think past that and. He
can be a real fickle pickle, that's for sure.
Real fickle.
I mean,
a real fickle pickle, Rick.
Oh boy,
yeah.
Because you got to realize some of these people, man. I know it sucks what they're doing, but they're just guilty by association. I mean, I know they're doing some bad things, but I mean that's just kind of what they have to do. Just I mean, it's so I can see both sides. I mean, at the same time though, these people would probably kill you in your sleep. So to hell with them. But I think that's everything. I'm trying to think if there's anything we left out.
If we don't hear from Negan and Gabriel next week, I'm not going to be happy. I'm going to write a letter to AMC.
Is it going to be strongly worded?
Yes, 100%. Okay. I'm gonna hock a loogie in an
it's
envelope
and send it to Chris Hardwick. It's going to say, "I'm not happy."
Yes, yeah. Dictated, but not.
You're going to hold Chris Hardwick for ransom.
Yep. Is that possible? I won't do that. I wonder what a security detail looks like. Huh.
So let's move to the comments section here. Let's see. Got a lot more this week, so bear with us as we try to get through this. We've got Gage Waltner says that he's still excited to watch a show and see what happens next, but he does feel like it's lost something. Nothing really feels new anymore. Maybe that's why it's predictable. Morgan says, I don't die, and then he is shot, with 2 other men, and surprise, surprise, he's the lone survivor. Agreed. The most screen time Eric has had in the past 3 seasons, is only for him to be shot and possibly die, which we know that he did end up dying. Also, the dialogue is repetitive. I miss the fun conversations between characters. We haven't had that since we lost Glenn and Abraham. I'm glad they're splitting up the episodes so we don't have to watch only one terror at Oceanside for a full hour, but it also makes the stakes feel really low. Ezekiel had the best moments this episode, even though his attitude may get someone killed, which it did. His character's still fresh, and the moments when he breaks his character to Carol is great. And I, for one, am excited to see Morales come back. I bet you're not so happy right now.
I'm sorry about that.
We have a foundation with him, and if we wait a full season before he dies, it may be impactful and unpredictable. I bet you didn't see this episode coming. Maybe the similarity to the comics is hurting the show after 8 years. They're not being similar to the comics, so that's part of my problem. Is they're veering off a lot, which I'm not. Again, I don't think they should stick 100% to the source material, because then it would be boring and predictable, because every little thing that's going to happen. But with that said, they could still take some of the high notes from the comic. Again, like Jesus, like they're finally doing. Like, hey, this guy's been in the show since season 6. Why are we waiting this long to finally make him likable? But anyways, I know the comics, and so I know which characters are around and, still are and aren't. This is a long comment, Gage. Thank you so much for giving us so much feedback. We love long comments. They're harder to read from this computer, but we really appreciate them. Denis Washington says, it's almost sad that Morales is back. It pays homage to old fans, some of them, but it seems fan servicey too, to which, let's see, WYSIWYG said that she agrees, 100%. And Levi commented yesterday and said, not for long. So, Michonne Grimes, if they were smart, they should have killed some of the saviors and then just sit back and wait for them to turn. Save the ammo. Love the podcast. So glad you're back. Thank you, Michonne. We are glad to be back as well. And then she also addresses one to Matt afterwards. Okay, Matt, I do still love the show, but yeah, since last season it's getting stale. They need to do something. I will continue to watch it till the end. Have a great week, guys. I'm going to tell you, you've been getting a lot of love from Michonne Grimes.
She's very pleasant. She's a very pleasant lady. I always appreciate it.
Lisa Jets.
She said guys, though. She wished you guys a good week. Yeah. She felt bad because I wasn't part of the comic cast. She felt bad.
Did we say, she left that comic before the comic cast. So.
Well, never mind.
Did we say it's a Lisa Jet or we said a Lisa Jet, right?
I feel like it doesn't matter because we always say it wrong.
I think
Lisa Jet? I think it's Elisa because she even did the little hyphen with it's Lisa. She did the AH.
Let's see. So Elisa comments, and she says, "To me, a lot of this described as artistic writing and directing is really getting annoying. I dislike so many over-the-top speeches and close-ups of our characters' faces. I would rather have good dialogue between characters like we used to have,
like this week.
Yeah." They try this attempts to be profound statements when it's just one-on-one conversations, like when Rick's telling Daryl it's not about him. It's just too much talk. Wait a minute. It's just too much talk to each other normally like you used to, and let the king be the only profound speaker because it fits with him. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, they did try to have I could see that, whereas they used to talk and, David Sizemore says that we remind him of a hometown radio show, 98 Rock Baltimore on YouTube. Oh, we'll check that out.
Look at that, 98 Rock.
He says that we have great perspective on these episodes very much. Thank you for your kind words, David. We're so glad to have you as a listener. Michonne, I'm going to tell you what, Michonne is just on it.
Yeah, man. She thinks of something and she types it in.
I think they should have killed those people that they captured. They cannot hold or feed any prisoners.
I agree with that. I don't think it's, at this point, they just need to
Very
just kill
impractical.
him. Yeah, it's too many mouths to feed, too much to keep up with.
And the girl that got shot that was with Aaron and them that I could not remember who she was, though I knew I had seen her, but I just couldn't remember who she was. It was Francine. She was with Abraham at the construction. Was that the one that they were going to let die, I think?
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. The one that we thought was going to take Holly's place in the show, but then Sasha ended up doing it. Mm-hmm. Elisa Jet says, "Hey guys, I'm Michonne Grimes. Loving that you're back. Pissed you guys didn't cover Game of Thrones, but whatever. Not going to say, but have you heard rumors?" Well, I was at the beach for like two weeks at that time period, though. So we, which I mean, you guys could have done it, but I mean, I wouldn't have been able to do it.
He won't give us the password to the YouTube account. I can't get into it, so I don't know.
All right, let's see. Other than that, wait a minute, let me see. Wait, I got lost here. I think Eugene maybe could help Gabriel, and that could redeem him. It's going to take a lot to redeem Eugene at this point, man. Other than that, or comic, Eugene did help a Hilltop Doctor, and that could still happen. I'm hoping they don't screw up the Negan Gabriel scenes. They can really have an interesting story in that trailer, and good dialogue if they do it right. Glad you're back. Love you guys. We love you too. Thank you for your comment, and I agree. It's Negan. Anytime you're going to put Negan, you can have some great dialogue as long as they,
Is it feasible that Eugene could be the mole? Is that possible?
Well, he's not there, but he's not in the group anymore. You know what I'm saying? Like, he wouldn't have known that Rick and them were going to try to take the weapon.
That is true. Unless there's something going on that we don't know about.
Well, unless they planned for that a while back. Well, no, Eugene's been gone for a while, though.
That's what I'm saying. What if this has all been a plan for like Ocean's 11 style?
Well, I mean, I will say this again. I hate.
That's what I want to see.
Well, one thing, and then I hate to keep being like the guy that's like, well, in the comics, but I mean, we're talking about
a really
comic
good impression of that
show, guy. So, but I mean, in the comics, the one big difference was that, Rick was planning to rebel against Negan the entire time, and it's just that he needed to have Alexandria completely convinced because he knew that if somebody gave it, Negan would see if there was something up. So he needed everyone to be on board that, hey, we're going to do what Negan says. So, whereas in the show, he had to have like a moment of clarity to be like, okay, we're going to fight them back. So who knows? Maybe you will find out that the whole whole Eugene.
I would love that so much.
I mean, it'd be a very elaborate plan. But like you said, you did say Ocean's 11, so I mean that would be a very elaborate plan.
That's different.
Like we'll see like the music playing while it like zooms to different characters.
That would be really cool. Oh, that would be so cool. It'd have to be black and white, of course.
Let's see. Daisy Cakes says, love the reviews, although I've not watched yet, but I know I will, and I know you will too, Daisy Cakes.
She doesn't mind spoilers so much that she will listen to us even when she hasn't caught up with everything.
I know.
That's nice.
She's awesome.
Daisy Cakes.
Gates Waltner's back again, says, what do you guys think would redeem Eugene? Rick hates him, and I think to be redeemed, Eugene would have to kill Simon. Just imagine Simon shooting Rosita, and without hesitation, Eugene shoots him in the side of the head. That would be satisfying. I could see that. I would hate to lose Rosita, but I could see that. That'd be like the straw that. But I mean, I still don't think that would redeem. That might redeem Eugene a little bit in our eyes, but that's not going to redeem Eugene in like Rick's eyes. I don't think.
Redeem Eugene.
I mean, he's straight up. Is like
want that on a t-shirt.
One of Negan's right hand men now. I mean,
well, the Ocean's 11 scenario is what I'm holding out for.
Yeah, fingers crossed, right? We just don't. We like Eugene. Like we don't. We don't want. I really do miss Eugene though. Like I liked seeing him.
I miss the old
episodes,
Eugene,
man. John Borrego says, can you guys do a Stranger Things season 2 review? It's funny because JP mentioned he just finished it.
Yeah,
I'm on episode 6, which I'll probably have it finished tonight or tomorrow. Matt, if you want to watch it,
Now wait a minute.
Now wait a minute, man.
Oh, okay.
From what I understand, you're boycotting Netflix in support of Kevin Spacey. That's what I read on your Twitter this morning.
Well, I think that there are multiple sides to every story. I can't. No. I don't know anything about the scenario.
Sure.
I don't even have a Twitter. Okay, so I don't know who you're looking at.
But
I am kind of sad that House of Cards is up in the air because that's a good show.
Yeah, I love that
heard
show.
It was a great show.
I mean, he's such a degenerate in the show. It kind of fits his character.
It definitely fits. Because then they could easily do a last season without him. But we'll see.
Well, that's what they're doing.
Oh.
Yeah, he's not going to be in the last season.
Someone got the inside scoop in Hollywood.
So yeah, Stranger Things 2, we might could do that. I'm almost done with it, and I'm really enjoying it. I like season 1, but I gotta say, season 2 has like kept me glued. Like 1, I would watch an episode or 2, and it's like it's good, but then I would go do something else. Or with this one, I find myself staying up late because I've got to see what happens next. So I'm happy to do one if you guys want to do it.
I just wish someone would give 11 a tissue. She's always got like that little stream of blood right in her nostril. Yeah. Never watched the show.
I bet she goes. I bet she goes through clothes, man. You know, just constantly wiping it with the sleeve.
Oh
like,
yeah,
man.
Yeah.
You know,
just less sleeves. That's all she needs.
Jeep. I'm going to try and some of these are long, and we're kind of running out of time here. So I apologize for not being able to get the entire comment in. But we're just kind of so Jeep says you guys went to Martinsville and didn't invite me, dicks. Well, hey, Jeep, holla at us. You go with us next time.
Talking about Richard Petty.
Anyway, I was kind of more mad that they didn't get back to what's going on with Negan and Gabriel, and that Morgan didn't get to kill Jared. Francine is the lady from Alexandria who got shot, by the way. What was up with the pictures of the characters they kept flashing on at the beginning and the end of the episode? Was there some point that I missed completely? What was Daryl staring at the end? As far as Morales, I find myself more curious as to how the hell he got there than I am glad to see him back. Exactly, which we did find that out this episode. So, you know, that's I guess that's satisfying in that regard. How do they expect to feed all these prisoners? Michonne Grimes is right there on the same page with you, Jeep. Did they get in a shipment of bullets and food during the hiatus that they haven't shown us yet? Mm-hmm. I'd like to say more, but I'm off to Home Depot to buy some tin roofing because apparently it repels bullets.
How much are you getting shot at, Jeep?
Like, what are you doing in your life? I feel like that metal's supposed to be like thicker than just your regular sheet metal.
I think
like
it's the stuff they made the wall out of.
Yeah,
perhaps.
It's like big steel. But I have heard several people go, "How do they keep hiding behind sheet metal?" But I think it's in the story. It's supposed to be like it's supposed to be like a thick
sheet metal.
Yeah, but. I mean,
still, an assault rifle. I feel like some of those assault rifles will just tear right through that like Swiss cheese.
Think it depends. Like a 5.56 wouldn't because that's not a. I mean, like an AK-47, like a 7.62 though. I mean, I definitely think it would have a little more punch to it. Maybe a 30-30 or something. But apparently, it's just absolutely bulletproof.
I don't understand why they don't make the walls out of Lucille, just a bunch of baseball bats. Because apparently, those just stop and hold bullets.
No kidding. Sanburbia Pictures. Man, we missed you, Sanburbia.
Hey!
I'm so happy you guys are back. Didn't get the notification for your season premiere episode, so I'll be listening to that pretty soon. The longer this show keeps going, the more my heart breaks. I only keep watching because of a few select characters, Rick Grimes being the ultimate reason. But the writers and budget constraints are killing the show, not to mention the behind-the-scenes drama and recent court battles filed against AMC by Robert Kirkman and the other executive producers. I'm done caring for the We Don't Kill storyline anymore. Yes, every character has to go through this. We've been doing it since season 2, and it was at its peak when Shane posed the question. I can agree with that. It's been 8 years, and the writers continue to milk that cow. As for Morales, they will certainly give him an entire episode where he and Rick share each other's philosophies, and I couldn't care any less.
Oh, okay.
Well, you didn't quite get that whole episode, but you got a little bit. It's time for war. No more blah, blah, blah. Man, I can't talk. It's my Monday, so excuse me. I know it's Tuesday, but I just got back in town, so it feels like Monday. So no more philosophy crap. Kill off characters that we care about so that we actually feel something and focus on the visuals of war, not philosophies. I agree with that 100%.
That was well said.
It's like at some point you're trying to be too artistic. You know what I mean? Like it's a zombie show. I mean, ultimately, yes, we want to see a little more depth to it than your standard zombie slaying, but at some point it is still a show about zombies. So
why don't they go back to like season 3 and season 4 and look at the formula that they had and what they did right?
They really should.
I know it was also the people that were in charge at the time, but I mean, go back and if you can't figure out why aren't people as excited as they used to be? Why are the ratings? Yeah. Well, go back and look what you were doing right.
Yep, exactly right. Savage Rick says, you guys are underrated. These are great. I watch them while I'm at work or I listen to them while I'm driving. Well, Savage Rick, we really appreciate the kind words. Having you as a listener, and please make sure you focus on the road when driving.
At least he's listening. That's nice.
Before you leave, just make sure, we want to.
And just don't get, if you're watching at work, just don't get caught unless your job is to watch things on YouTube at work, which is an awesome
really
job.
Cool boss that's just like,
that's true too.
Listen to that.
That is true too.
Mrs. Bubs for Fun says you guys are being too picky on this episode. Okay. This is one of the best episodes in a long time. And for the record, the internet is going crazy over the return of Morales, but I think it's more of a troll or meme kind of thing about Morales.
I didn't see that much about Morales on this.
I guess to each their own, man. I really didn't.
Well, he's no more now.
Right, so it doesn't matter at this point. But I wasn't that. You bring me someone like Andrea back, I'm going to be like, what? Even though I really dislike Andrea, I would still just be like, what?
I think Bubs for Fun is right, though. I feel like it was, after seeing it now that Morales is dead, it was one of those, hey, look at this person real quick. Okay, they're done.
It was a fan service.
She's right. It's kind of like a troll meme kind of thing.
Yeah, I agree. So, yeah, I liked the episode, but, and And Denise Washington says, I wish Rosita would have gone
with Rick, probably.
Oh, gone with. Oh, I'm like
just short.
Gone.
The ITH, the last 3 letters are too much.
I wish Rosita would have gone with Rick for the episode season 8. It would be episode 8, season 1. She would have attempted to shoot Negan before Rick did, and maybe because she is far-sighted, would have nicked him. My fan heart is bloodthirsty.
Jeez. That's not a fan heart I want to experience. Bloodthirsty fan heart. I mean, it's better than a nod-beating fan heart, so in that aspect, thank you, Denise.
Yeah, so thank you for the comments.
Thirst.
Please continue to comment. We love the comments.
I want to know how people also feel. I don't know if I've ever asked this question before. How do you feel about King Ezekiel and how his talking is?
Yeah, Matt's not that.
I'm not kind of. I mean, I enjoy the character. I'm just not. If he would just talk like a normal person, did that King thing every once in a while, it'd be like a little shtick. That's fine, but it's gotten to the point where it's a little old and stale.
He's really good at improving that stuff, though. I mean.
Oh, yeah. Like, are you talking about in regards to the show? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Not the actor.
Just that character, yeah.
Because that would be crazy if the actor was just making that stuff up.
Oh, man, that would be, yeah.
Before we go, I meant to say this at the beginning. I'm digging your cardigan, man. I wish everyone could see this cardigan.
Oh, thank you.
Like, it's nice. Is it a cardigan?
Doesn't a cardigan have to button all the way down?
It's like a half cardigan, sweater maybe. I don't know.
Well,
man.
thank
I like
you,
it. It's
thank
nice.
you.
With the
I
buttons
appreciate
and the cuffs.
it.
That's good. It's a good sweater.
I looked at I saw what the temperature was going to be. No, I've had this for years and years and years.
I wish
it's
I could
a little
fit in
too
clothes from years
warm to
ago.
wear
That's
it though.
nice.
I shouldn't have worn it.
Have you been outside? Well, it's going to get colder as the day goes.
Yeah, maybe. But like this morning, I was sitting in here just roasting. But thank you. I'm glad to know that someone.
It's about time you started trying to look good. I couldn't keep it good for long.
And we're back. So please keep the comments coming. We love the comments. We love the interactiveness. We're planning to, like I said, we're going to do each episode. We're going to try to keep this going after this season ends because. We miss you guys when you're not around.
Find something to talk about.
And we know some of you are only around while The Walking Dead's going on. We understand, but there are, some of you that I think would listen if we did like a Game of Thrones or if we started doing like more comic stuff or movie reviews or whatnot. So, and speaking of which, before we rate this episode, I saw Life last night.
How was that? With Ryan Reynolds and Jake Gyllenhaal and all them?
Good, but not what I expected. You know what I'm saying?
They labeled it as a drama horror. I don't know. They labeled it as too many different things when they did the trailer.
I think they had too many different ideas that I liked it, but I had a lot of issues with it. If that makes sense.
I'm going to go see Thor Ragnarok sometime this week.
Heard nothing but good things about it.
Yeah, it's really, really good. They really go heavy with the comedy, man. It's almost like Deadpool.
Takai Waititi, I think is his name. He did a lot of like Flight of the Conchords stuff.
Oh man, I love Flight of the Conchords. He
directed a movie called What We Do in the Shadows. Recommend it. It's like a mockumentary kind of thing about some vampires in New Zealand. Extremely hilarious. Very funny movie. What We Do in the Shadows.
But yeah, I've heard nothing but good things about the new Thor.
It's incredible.
Good movie. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I've seen. I'm going to watch Wonder Woman. I know I'm like 6 months too late on this. I'm going to finally watch Wonder Woman tonight.
Good.
And I'm going to finish up Stranger Things.
It was good. There was some movie that I saw last week and I completely blanked it out of my memory because my buddy wanted to go see it. And I was like, I don't really care. I'll think about what it was.
I know you saw Jigsaw.
That's it.
But we already talked
about that?
Yeah,
okay, good. Yeah, I blocked that out of my memory.
Did we? Did we talk about that on the podcast?
Yeah,
briefly last week, I said I went and saw it and it was not good.
Not good?
Yeah.
I thought they started sucking after the third one, but that was only
I stand by that point. It's still not that good.
First one had the best twist, like at the end. Oh, yeah. You're just like, whoa. And then the second one was cool. And then the third one wasn't that great, but it kind of wrapped up, Jigsaw's story. So it was like, okay, well, that's cool. And then they just kept coming out with more. And you're like, okay, so at this point, they just want to see how many different traps they can get.
That was really cool. When you find out it's the Dread Pirate Roberts at the end of it, that's really cool.
Yeah, Captain Jack Sparrow rolled in. It was really weird.
Well, it was more of a Carrie Ewell's reference. Princess Bride? No. Really good movie.
I forgot that he was in it. Yeah, until you told me that. I did never realize that's who that was.
The Dread Pirate Roberts.
The one that sawed his leg off. Like that's the guy.
He's awesome.
Yeah, that's crazy. Anyways, let's rate the episode starting with Matt.
I'm going to say 7.5.
Ooh,
like
that's
7.75.
This
is a good episode. This is a good episode.
You hear Matt is probably the harshest critic, and he's
definitely the harshest critic.
Said that it's a good episode.
It's good, enjoyable. Yep.
Good job, guys. JP, let's.
I was definitely going to stick it like 8.
I'm going to go one step further. I'm going to go. You ready for this? I'm going to go crazy here.
Y'all ready for this?
Just because, again, and I'm sure lots of listeners are on the same boat, just being such a fan of Jesus, you're just waiting for that moment where he truly shows you why he's so loved in the comics, and we're starting to see the badassness. So for that fact and that fact alone, And it was just such a well put together scene. The choreography was great. The actors did a good job. I'm going to give this episode an 8.5.
Okay, I thought you were going to say 9.
I was going to do 9. I took it back at the last second. I was like, don't get me wrong. While it was a great episode, it wasn't quite a 9.
We usually stay in the same area.
Yeah.
But
you usually stay in the 6s.
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
I've gone 9 before. I think I've gone perfect 10 before, but I don't like to throw those out. I don't like to be a hoe.
Yeah, you got to be careful. You got to be careful with those 10s. You can't just give those
throw it out to everyone. You know what I'm saying?
Don't trust the hoe.
Yeah, I'm going to give it like an 8.5. I thought it was a great episode. I was entertained the whole time. Lots of twists and turns. I really can't wait to see what happens with Ezekiel.
Looking forward to it. We'll find out. And Gabriel.
And Gabriel.
Gabriel and Negan. Let's find out.
Where is Gabriel?
And Heath. Let's find out what's happening with Heath. Let's have a whole episode of just people that we haven't touched on in a while.
We did. It was Morales.
Hey, there we go.
All right, so we'll see you next week. I'm Justin.
Hey, I'm Matt.
And JP.